Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September 26th Board of Works meeting. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Gentry.
Here.
Becky McClure. Here. Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Here.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Okay, we are all here. We don't have the minutes yet for this meeting, so we'll take those up at our next meeting. So we'll move on to department head reports. First up is Police Department, Chief Morgan.
Good evening, board members. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 507 calls for service. 18 people were arrested for the following crimes. 1 for operating while intoxicated, 5 were wanted on a warrant, 2 for battery, 5 for possession of meth, 1 for dealing meth, 1 for possession of marijuana, 2 for fraud, and 1 for being a habitual traffic violator. In that same time frame, LPD took 28 crash reports, and a total of 4 handgun carry permits were sent off to the state for final approval. Lieutenant Tommy Nash completed supervising and managing the field training unit course. We hosted that at LPD. There were 25 other students there from all over the state. Our pre-basic training continues with our 3 new guys that everybody got to meet at the last meeting, Gage Pedigo, Easton Williamson, Nathan Hosfield. They've completed their firearms training and some of their defensive tactics. So they should be getting done with their pre-basic here pretty soon and actually start doing their FTO before they go to the academy. Going to try and get that done some before so they can be released sooner when they're done with the academy. Normally we wait until they're done at the academy, then do the FTO. But Assistant Chief Dickerson completed the Southern Police Institute's Internal Affairs training. The course went over policy, practice, and legal considerations. It was hosted at Zionsville Police Department. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? Anything from public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next is Fire Department. Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. Since the last Board of Public Works and Safety meeting, Lebanon Fire has made 142 emergency calls of service, logged 235 training hours, completed 30 commercial inspections, hosted 1 CPR class, and participated in 1 public education event. The week of September 19th, LFD and CTFD crews participated in simulation lab training at Witham Hospital. The simulation was set as an 18-month-old drowning victim. Each crew, along with LHS interns Rachel Kersey and Nick Stewart, had to work through a cardiac arrest while using only BLS skills. While understanding the psychological impact of the simulation, it's necessary for our firefighters to train in these adverse situations. A special thank you to Boone County EMA Administrative Assistant Rachel Hansen for being an actor during the simulation, and also Simulation Lab Coordinator Nan Hallen, who just did an amazing job setting this up. On Wednesday, September 22nd, fire crews were dispatched to Cedars Towing on a working salvage yard fire. We had to use tanker shuttle operations for this particular incident as there's no fire hydrants in the area. This was the largest tanker shuttle process that I have ever been a part of. We're calculating around 60,000 gallons of water. And I'd just like to quickly go through all of the departments that assisted with this. Center Township, Thorntown, Sugar Creek, Advanced Fire Department, Zionsville, the Indianapolis Airport Fire Department, Whitestown, Boone County EMS, Boone County EMA, Boone County Health Department, and Cedars Towing. As you can see, it was a very large scene, and it took a small village to get this fire under control. To close out, this week, Lieutenant Sam Doherty is in Annapolis, Maryland. He is attending the IAFF National Burn Conference. And this is something that Sam's very passionate about, is being a counselor for burn victims. He's done this many years for the Hoosier Burn Camp, so we decided to send him out to Maryland to go through a week-long course. So very, very proud of Sam and how passionate he is about his service. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for Chief from the board? Anything from the public? Yeah, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next is Parks and Recreation. I believe we have Caleb Skink tonight. Pinch hitting? Good evening.
Our all-inclusive playground was finally finished with the fence being installed last week, just in time for the ribbon cutting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and all that helped to make this great amenity happen. It has been well received by all. Soccer at Reese Park has a couple more weeks, along with football at Abner, and the Memorial Park baseball field is still hosting Lebanon High School fall ball. We hosted Colonial Market Days at Abner Longley Park. They had great weather and a huge turnout for all 3 days. This past weekend, we hosted Historical Society Lincoln Days and a Civil War reenactment, which also had a nice following. Our Fall Pickleball League is almost wrapped up. We are planning on having our Women's League tournament on October 5th and a co-ed on October 14th. One last thing, mark your calendars for Saturday, October 29th, 2022. Our Pumpkins in the Park will take place at Memorial Park from 11 to 2, cost is $5 per person. We will have hay rides, pumpkin painting, s'mores, kettle corn. We will also have Traveling Tom's Coffee there for some fall fun drinks. We'd also like to give a special thanks to our sponsors as well as John Lasley Outdoor Solution and Farmers Bank. That's all I have.
Thank you, Caleb. Any questions for Caleb from the board? Oh, we gotta find a zinger for him. It's his first time presenting. No? Anyone
We ought
from
to
the
make it
public?
tough on him, you know.
Exactly, yeah. Anyone from the public? All right. Thanks,
Wish I had
sir.
a dozen questions.
Well done. All right, next up is engineering. Kevin Krillick.
Thank you. Good evening. Engineering report for tonight. Few updates on projects around town. Actually, looking to the future, 2022 tentative pavement resurfacing projects. That list has been put together, awaiting results on grant funding before we would finalize that and go into bidding in the fourth quarter. But that includes projects on East Street, Anderson Lane, Washington Street, Outer Drive, Noble Street, Berry Drive, Sherry Drive, Monroe Crescent, Madison Court, and Adams Court. Again, all slated for our 2023 resurfacing program. Whit Road Bridge, everyone's favorite project. We are seeing some progress there. We poured footings for the bridge extension over the weekend. Bridge extension pieces are expected to arrive on Thursday and be immediately set. We will not close the road during this time. There will be flaggers, there will be some impediment to traffic, but we will keep traffic open while we set those final bridge pieces. Much smaller crane equipment than what you saw on the original bridge setting, so we should be able to keep one lane open at all times. After that, really next week we go into moment slabs. Following week, we're probably pouring our railings on the bridge, followed by middle of that week into the following week looking at walks and drives and curbs, and then wrapping up towards the end of the month with walking path, guardrails, final surfacing and striping. Hoping to be done around the 24th of October. So nearing the final phase of that project. On the road project, my one, that's a 2027 project. We received it's about a $5.9 million project. We got about $3 million from Federal Highway, and that is, we're looking at a July 8, 2026 would be our letting date. We're currently wrapping up our engineering and right-of-way acquisition services contract that's currently in Mr. Shine's hands for review, and hopefully we'll get that back to the state this week and be ready to execute that here shortly. Elmwood Bridge, remind one, that's a 2022 first phase community crossing project. $595,393 awarded to Duncan Robertson. USI will be our bridge inspector, and we are still waiting on final contracts from USI to execute those, but we have selected them and we're working through schedules with the contractor. Currently, what they put before us is to sort of think outside the box and allow them to work on this project through the winter. It's not a big impact to traffic or residents, so we think that's something that we should consider, which would be starting possibly in December, doing that project through the winter, and then wrapping it up sometime in probably February or early March. And then as soon as the asphalt plants would open, we would be paving across the bridge. But there would be, a section of time, late winter, early spring, where if we proceed with that request per the contractor, we would be driving on stone, or we could possibly keep the bridge closed. But if we were to open the bridge, we would be driving on crushed stone until the asphalt plants open and we could finalize the bridge. So we're working through those options right now. Again, nothing's been finalized, but that was an early request from the contractor. I think they're trying to fit it into some gaps they have in their schedule. So I think any opportunity we have to expedite the project, given the low impact it has to the surrounding area, I think that's something we should look at doing. So keep everybody posted as that moves forward. The Grant Street project, a lot going on along Grant Street and adjacent to Grant Street. Sanitary sewer on the east side of Grant Street, south of Williams, that's all complete. Water mains are complete along Williams Street. Water mains along the west side of Grant Street, north of Williams, continues and should be wrapping up before the end of October. Storm sewer installation along Williams Street really started today with a manhole tie-in near the bridge, and they'll be working on that this week. This is all gearing up towards paving in the third week of October, getting ready to open that up before the end of October, before we shut down for the winter. When I say shut down, that's the main road construction work will be shutting down. There's still the opportunity for the contractor to continue on water main construction, to continue on some of the other construction, but they will have to do any of that under traffic and maintaining Williams Street and Grant Street at all times. Still looking at phase 2 and 3 starting in March of next year. Phases 2 and 3. Phase 2 is the east half of Grant Street. Phase 3 is the west half of Grant Street. Those will be done under one-way traffic to the north at all times. Southbound traffic will be detoured. Remind everyone that's a $4.5 million project we're working on there with a significant amount of federal participation to the tune of around $2.9 million. Grant Street Phase 2, also a 2027 federal aid project, just like our Witt Road project. It has a July 2025 letting date. We're currently wrapping up our right-of-way contracts with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert to be moving that project forward towards that letting date. Fordyce Street, we are wrapping up our right-of-way acquisition for the reconstruction in Fordyce, tentatively planned for 24-25. We have 4 outstanding parcels right now. 3 of those 4 should be wrapping up shortly, or they're parcels like with the school corporation that are just pending finalizing the plans for the new Central Elementary. Also planning to open up in the fall of 2025. So really, we should be wrapping up those right-of-way acquisition in the next couple of weeks and be moving forward with coordination with the school and ultimately getting ready for bidding and construction. Lebanon Utilities, I think we all remember this from our last meeting, is replacing the sanitary sewer along Fordyce, also between Grant and Park Street at this time. They're about a week into this, and they tell me it's about a 6-week project before they'll wrap this up. Local traffic is still open, so if you live in that area, of course, you can get to your homes, but through traffic, we're asking people to follow the detour route that Kokosing, the contractor for Lebanon Utilities, has set up. We will maintain traffic to Ann Street at all times. Hopefully around the end of October, though, we'll be opening up Williams Street, and then we can close off access to Fordyce between Ann and Grant Street at that time once we have better access to the school established. Big Four Trail projects. Exciting that we're essentially wrapping up our Big Four Trail, our urban section of the Big Four Trail. Rural section is shortly behind it. We are scheduled to start bidding on the rural section on October 13th. But back to construction of the urban section. All asphalt and concrete is complete at this point. We will have some punch list repairs, so you might see some of that be pulled out to make some repairs and put back in quickly. But essentially, all the asphalt and concrete is down at this point. Lights are all being installed. Really, there's only, I think, the lights along Meridian Street between Superior and South Street are the only lights remaining, and those bases were poured today. So those light poles will be set up towards the end of the week. And then just the final thing with our final electric service connections have to be made, and then all the lights can be turned on. Landscaping is also proposed to be completed this week and or next, weather pending. And that should wrap things up. Stoney to Bike Park, got word from the contractor making a generous earthwork donation to the project to the tune of 145,000 cubic yards, that work is now scheduled to begin towards the end of October. So really, we will be moving the bulk of the earthwork in through the winter and getting set up for spring construction. Remind everyone that we received a recommendation to award us a $750,000 READY grant. I say recommendation, the award isn't final till we document the city's financial commitments. And speaking of that, so we're looking at roughly, after the donations, the project funding is totaling around $2.5 million right now. We are looking at a construction management as constructor delivery method, or CMC, under Indiana state statute. We're looking at that option for delivery of the project, which would include the issuance of an RFP to choose a CM. The CM would then manage and bid all contracts and all bid packages. Bid packages would still be publicly bid, but the construction manager would handle all that. And at the end of the day, they would be delivering to us a guaranteed max price before we went to construction. We're already working with some local contractors on this that are interested in being our CM, and they are working to fortify our budget numbers before the end of the week. But right now, as I said, it's about a $2.5 million project with contingencies. This is after we've done some value engineering to get that budget right size for us. There's still about, we're still roughly $500,000 from our American Rescue Plan money. There is then $750,000 in the READY grant. We've had around $200,000 in fundraising efforts so far. About $30,000 of that is real cash. The rest of it is in-kind services, or it's perpetual grants to the project that would probably be more suited for use by the Parks Department for maintenance of the park. And then we're looking at the remaining balance of the sanitation fund now that we have completed our switch over to the waste hauler contract with Ray's, or now to be assigned to WM. So there's about $900,000 that's still in the balance of that account. And then that leaves us with about a $350,000 additional funding need. So as we true up our budgets, we will be coming back to you and coming back to council to look at those additional funding commitments that we need to make there to move the project forward. And again, earthwork donations through the winter, and then assuming everything goes to plan, we would be set up for trail and parking lot and maintenance building construction next spring and summer. Active living programs, all that money has now been spent. No money left for the rest of this year. Still working through our regional detention program. Primarily now we're focused on some regional conveyance projects, which is the 54-inch culvert underneath 39 and the railroad tracks. Those projects have now been filed with the state and with the railroad company, and that's moving through that system. We have also been trading a draft MOU between myself and the county, so that we will enter into this MOU so that we will construct the pipe. It will, though, be a legal drain system just constructed by the city, and then once it's constructed and accepted by the county, they will be responsible for maintenance after final construction. A couple of smaller projects, Riley Road widening, surveys are now complete, preliminary layout options, I've received those and are moving that forward with our designer, finalizing the final right-of-way dimensions and surveys that will go into buying, probably expected to start 1st of 2023. Another smaller project, I've also entered into an agreement with Beam Longest and Neff for a drainage study and improvements on Elizabeth Road, where we've got a lot of standing water issues just west of Winding Way. And so hopefully that will be surveyed and designed through the winter, and then looking for spring construction of next year. And then last but certainly not least, our inspection department for the last 2 weeks, since the last meeting, has completed 12 SWIP inspections, 9 right-of-way inspections, and we did have our IDEM audit. So that went very well. IDEM was on site for a surprise audit of our MS4 system. Really, there was no major issues that they brought up, other than we are overdue to update our stormwater ordinance, which we are already under contract to do that with Christopher Burke, so that will be coming through this winter as we complete that project. And then that's all I have at this time.
That's all it has, okay. Any questions for Kevin about the project we have going on? No. Anything for public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next would be Planning Department. Matt Reynolds tonight.
Good evening, Board. Since our last meeting, our department has conducted 65 building inspections. We've issued 38 permits, including 5 new single-family residential. The plans continue to come in for new projects. We had the Cedars at Lebanon Business Park, which is about a 115-acre industrial park on the south side of town, on South State Road 39, by the railroad tracks near the Hickory Junction Fieldhouse. That development will be about 5 different parcels, industrial uses ranging from industrial distribution all the way to potentially some cold storage. So we're looking forward to that project coming in. Ben and I, later this week, will be attending the OKI Planning Conference down in Louisville. This is a biannual conference conducted by the American Association of Planners. This is the Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana chapters, and it provides us an opportunity for some professional development as well as networking opportunities with different local officials, developers, planners, engineers, attorneys, things of that nature. So exciting to get down there and learn, hopefully learn a few things. Code enforcement remains busy. We had 105 investigative activities in the last few weeks, 19 new complaints, junk and trash, and overgrown grass and weeds topping out the list. And that's all I've got for planning tonight.
Yep. Thank you, Matt. Any questions for Matt from the board? Anything from the public? Thanks, sir. Next is Street and Stormwater Department, Dave Newell. Need some walk-up music for you.
Sorry. How's everybody? Just keeping catch basins clean of debris. We had a little bit of rain a couple days ago, I believe it was, so we had to clean up some of those. Kept our mowing, still mowing pretty strong with all the rains coming in, so. And keep it, along with that, we keep the trash picked up. We are out crack sealing some of our streets in town this week, and probably we started last week, and it'll probably go into at least most of this week. We'd like to remind people to slow down. We're kind of tired of telling them to, but you know, we do have people, our guys out in the street, they're very vulnerable, so just slow down. That's all we ask. Everybody wants to go home, just like everybody else. Let's see, we're still doing some pothole repairs, trying to wrap that up for the season before, you know, the plants close and stuff, so we're trying to make sure we get those. Most of them are more leaning now towards the alleys, but still, if you see any out on the road, definitely call us. 765-482-8870. Definitely take care of those. It helps when there are eyes and stuff out for us, the community. Stormwater crew's pretty busy right now. I finally got all of our structures in, so, and we're ordering next year's now because it takes so long to get them. Now they're telling us like 17 weeks, so we're gonna stock up now. But so they're off and rolling. That's good. We like to remind everyone that we still have a couple of job openings, or just maybe one at this time, so don't hesitate to come by the street department and get a job application. Update on the new street department. Earth moving is still ongoing, probably will be for a while, but the site utilities is ongoing as well. The building foundations and walls are complete, just the pouring of it, not the walls themselves, but building has been delivered. It's being erected now. You'll see, if you went out there, you'd see the beams. I think they might have the roof on now, so they're trying to get it enclosed for the winter. The fuel canopy is up as well. The footings are complete, and I believe they have it up and erected as well with their ceiling, so they're working on that. So it's starting to look like something now, so if you get a chance, check it out. You might need a hard hat, I don't know. because they've got stuff above you now, so just be aware of that. We do have 3 people attending a training tomorrow for PASER training, so they're offered a free, I think it's LTAP offered a free PASER training, so we had 3 guys interested in that, so get them out and check that out, and maybe we can get some of that under our belt and start leaning toward maybe doing a little bit more of that ourselves and not costing us, anything to save a little money. Not saying they'll be able to do it next year, but if we get some training, hopefully. Brush weeks are wrapping up, actually. If we got one more coming October 10th through the 14th, unless we get any storms or something like that, and it depends on the weather, after leaf season, we might try to get back out. We just don't want to make any promises, because you never know when the snow will fly. And we would also like to welcome Kenny Puckett to the Lebanon Street Department family. He started last week, so hopefully he enjoys it there and we can keep him around. And that's all I got.
Hey, Dave, I got a question for you on the
Sure.
pothole. So on 250 North, west of the railroad tracks, kind of where the Sunbrook entrance is off there onto 250, they've kind of been doing an exit work out of there, but it's kind of also been gravel for a long time. I don't know if it's a pothole or if they're going to fix that.
I think it's
but-
part of their construction, because we had the barrels knocked down and we went out and fixed them, and then they fixed them. So it's something that I think they're just, I'm assuming, waiting on some paving or something. I can check.
It looks like they've finished that entrance though, and it's still there. So it's in the road though.
Yep, there is a patch there for utility connections.
Okay.
They are scheduled to have that entire subdivision surfaced this fall.
Okay.
So should be in the next 30 days or so, they'll be in there to surface that, and that will be cleaned up.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks,
Yep,
Dave.
no problem.
Any other questions for Dave from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Joe LePage, Communications and Community Development.
Good evening, everyone. On top of marketing and housekeeping efforts, these are a few other things I've been working on. Under the headline of videos and media, we just wrapped up our ADA all-inclusive playground. I'm sure Caleb talked to you about the ribbon cutting that took place last week. We've been kind of doing a double-pronged approach. We've been doing the video services via Facebook Live, and so we've been doing that so folks can watch it on social media live as it happens. Also doing a recap video as well, and so you can see that recap video, including one of the most adorable young ladies you've ever seen in your life, a kindergartner over at Central Elementary, as well as the Ladd family touting our Parks Department and the great addition of the all-inclusive playground. The video is on the city's YouTube channel and on the city's site. It'll be added to the public access channel as well. Still working on and just got the graphic package today for Lebanon Police Department's promotional video. Been putting that together in the collaboration with the department, highlighting traffic stops investigations, also them collaborating with the fire department on a structure fire. This is to drive attention to some job postings maybe, but also just kind of an overall highlight video of what the great things the department does. We're meeting on a routine basis to kind of storyboard this piece, to kind of go through and talk about some needs that we have and being able to visually tell the story as best we can from a city perspective. So we're working with them on that. Also, later on this week, we'll be shooting our October portion of our Stone Eater Bike Park video series. Kevin kind of updated the process of the park. We hope to have October's piece kind of delve deeper into who was Chief Stone Eater. You hear Stone Eater Bike Park and who was this gentleman, talking with a member of the folks that knew a bit more of a history of who Chief Stone Eater was, and so look forward to recording some of that video and putting that together for our October portion of our Stone Eater Bike Park series. And finally, time is running out, and that time will be tomorrow at noon, but Unite Under the Lights 2022 rather, is coming up this Saturday. It's an outdoor dining experience in collaboration with the 1830 Chop House and featuring live music by Sarah Grain and the Billions of Stars. Just look on Spotify. It kind of has a Nora Jones type feel to her. Really great performer there. Also a special kind of sneak peek and tour of the upstairs spaces that the Chop House has to offer. Like I mentioned, the cutoff to buy tickets is tomorrow. That's Tuesday, September 27th by noon. You can buy tickets on the city's website, also on the Facebook page as well. Right down the alley and on Main Street under the catenary lights is where that event will be held on Saturday evening.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe from the board? Anything for the public? Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay, that concludes department head reports. We'll move on to old business. There's nothing on my agenda for old business or anything from the board.
No old business.
Okay, new business then. One item we have is a street closure request from Clues Brews. Patrick Clues.
Last one for the years, guys, sorry. October 15th, we will have our Clues Fall Fest. So we want to do a road closure from North Meridian and Washington Street. So the plaza all the way around in front of the library. That would be from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m. on the 15th.
Okay. So it's kind of the L? Or the,
Yeah, that L, the typical L we do.
Okay. And intersections are open?
That
at,
intersection
Meridian and-
would be closed.
Closed,
That's
okay.
where the power is, or the stage.
Okay, yep, perfect, okay. Any questions for that? You said October 15th?
Yep.
From 1 to 11 p.m.?
Got any time?
I'm sorry?
What kind of time frame?
1 p.m. The event starts at 5. Start setup at 1, and then everything would be open by 11 p.m.
Questions or concerns? Okay. Would entertain a motion then to approve the street closure request as presented?
I make a motion, we approve the street closure for Cruise Brews on October the 15th as presented.
Motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That is approved, thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes what I have for new business, is there anything else from the board? Okay, move on to claims. Would entertain a motion concerning the claims.
I make a motion, we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims, is there a second? Second from Judge, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Claims are approved. Any announcements or discussion? Okay. Would entertain a motion. We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alan. All those there say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next Board of Works meeting will be Tuesday, October 11th. Shifted a day back because of Columbus Day. So again, Tuesday, October 11th will be our next Board of Works meeting. We are adjourned.